XRP holders, I think you need to be very careful over the next coming days because things are about to get very dicey, but I want you guys to be fully aware of what is going on so you can make informed decisions. If we look at the XRP chart here, you can see we had this wedge pattern, we've broken out of it, we've retested it, we've pushed up, and we didn't manage to break what was previous resistance, so far getting rejected. Now, I think this rejection has far more to do with the rejection that Bitcoin has seen rather than XRP itself, and I actually think that this chop is going to absolutely annihilate a lot of traders and investors in the market. If we go to the 24 hours, you can actually see that over $662 million has been liquidated from the market, and this sea of green shows us that it's long positions being annihilated. XRP being the fifth largest crypto here to be liquidated. Now, what does this show us? That people are getting into late long positions. So, of course, late longs for Bitcoin, late longs for Ethereum, and late longs for XRP. We can actually drop this down and see the positions in XRP, and something that makes me relatively bullish on the moves right now is the fact that most of the market here, with almost $1 billion, is planning and betting that XRP's price goes lower from here. This makes me relatively bullish on the price action because the majority of traders are normally wrong. Now, over on Bitcoin, we see a similar thing playing out. We got 7.5 billion in shorts. However, that's a big number, but there are currently more longs. This makes me think that there's going to be more volatility for Bitcoin to the downside. Now, none of this data is guaranteed, okay? It doesn't mean it's going to happen. But what it shows us is there's tons of liquidity that sits in these regions. And if the market manipulation thesis that I have is correct, then it's got quite a high probability to come down and retest these regions. Now, overall, on a technical level, Bitcoin coming down to retest this 8-year resistance, I think would be pretty bullish if we do manage to break and then we break this high. That's what we want to see, right? However, what we don't want to see in the short term is losing the resistance, losing this previous resistance, coming down and maybe losing some of these resistance. And especially we don't want to see losing this resistance right here, because if we do, then that would basically invalidate this new uptrend that we have going on. Now, in my opinion, unless we really start to lose the 200 MA for Bitcoin, which sits right now about 106,000, and we start to close daily, maybe weekly candles below that, then that's signs that maybe the top is in and the bull market is finished. Now, for me personally, I think the last quarter is going to be bullish simply because of what history tells us, but there's no guarantees there, guys. But we can see here, my XRP trade, I still have it open. I think this pullback is being dictated by the market, and or by the Bitcoin market, and everyone panicking right now that Bitcoin's going down, although a bullish retest is pretty much exactly what we need for the next move after making an all-time high. Lots of people pile into longs, the liquidators, or the manipulators, sorry, liquidate the market, we push down, and then we go up. It's what we see every time. Look, this is not a straight line. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. Liquidate as many people as possible on the way, and especially when we've just made all-time highs for Bitcoin, the pressure is on and people are trading a lot with emotion, whether it's going long or short here. They're not following strategy, right? They're following emotion. If they're going long right here at all-time high, unless they have a specific breakout strategy, which maybe they do have, it would be trading with emotion. So right now, we've retested just about previous resistance, but coming down to at least this region, 118,000, where all of this support lies, is on the cards in my eyes, guys. And if that happens, I think XRP will most likely go lower from here. So what am I going to be doing with my trade? Well, as you know, I opened this long approximately right there. We rode it all the way up, and I actually didn't do anything with this long apart from wait until we came down to this region right here, and then I added to it. So right now I'm just waiting patiently for a press to the upside. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that I've been taking profits from the XRP trades, especially that initial push to the upside we saw back here. I was taking profits, right? About here was when I took my first profits, and I've been taking some profits when we see euphoric days, but now I'm waiting patiently. I'm not trading with my emotion. I'm not worried that the price is going down. In fact, I'm actually eyeing up opportunity. This support right here could be a good opportunity for people who wanted to go long, but actually fought the urge to go long right there. But what's important to note is if you were to open a trade right here, my strategy, I would open the trade there potentially. I'm not open to trade today, but maybe if I did, but I would plan for a DCA. So I wouldn't use all of my money. I would use a small position, and then I would DCA into it if we continue to go down, and I'll DCA out of it if we started to go up. That's my strategy in a bull market, and that's what's been working well for me. And if you guys do want to follow your own strategies, so recently we've seen the altcoin ETF wave boom incoming. The SEC is reviewing ETF filings for XRP, Doge, and Litecoin, and several others hinting at an upcoming altcoin ETF boom. So this is actually one of the narratives I'm paying close attention to, and the reason why I have these trades open right here, this is the low leverage, longer term swing trades. The reason I have them open is ETF season is heating up, according to Carl Dupes here on Twitter. The Solana ETF, October 10, apparently locked in. Canaries has filed for a final S1 for the Litecoin and HBAR ETFs, and we have Granite Shares adding 3x leverage ETFs for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. ETF energy back in full swing. So we of course saw ETFs go crazy for Bitcoin. We had amazing price action over the longer term for Bitcoin, but I want people to remember, if you're new here or you don't remember, because it's very easy to forget, when Bitcoin's initial ETF news hit, it went up significantly, but we actually had a big pullback. Same to be said with Ethereum. In fact, that was just a massive pullback and a massive, not once in a lifetime opportunity, but a big opportunity that happened for anyone who took it. So I would suggest, or I would assume, that if we get a Solana ETF on the 10th of October, that might actually be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. We can actually see from the leverage that Solana had $50 million of longs liquidated, and these longs might be preparing for a move to the upside from Solana because of the ETF news. But before it happens, the manipulators liquidate them, force them out of their positions, force some people to sell and get scared, and then the price rises. Again, this is not a guaranteed science. All I can show you guys is the data and the information that I'm seeing in this market, and go on that. Now, we also have something very interesting. The CEO of Techurium says XRP has real utility and calls it the coin with the most use case. Let's hear what he had to say.
Ripple's a company of really professional people working really hard on this. That's why we chose XRP. We believe in XRP. We're not making a price prediction, but we do believe it's a coin that will have the most utility out there. Bitcoin is a store of value. I agree with Mike McGlone, but I think that XRP has a true use case. There's just no doubt about it. And the Ripple team, from the interaction we've had with them, they're really professional. They act like investment bankers over there. They know what they're doing, and they will make this work. Ripple's a company.
That's important to note. This guy, the CEO of Techurium, which is a financial services company that specializes in providing exchange-traded funds and other investment products focused on commodities and digital assets. They offer a range of ETFs that provide exposure to agricultural commodities like corn, sugar, soybeans, and wheat, and as well as a digital asset such as XRP through their XXRP ETF. So, is he incentivized to say good things about XRP? Of course. But would these people put their name on the line if they didn't actually believe in it? That's a question that you guys have to answer for yourself. I can't guarantee anything. I don't know this guy, but these are the kinds of things that I want to see, right? I want to see institutions lining themselves up in opportunities that I'm also in, because at least then I'm thinking about the same level playing field, or I'm positioning myself in opportunities that even the big guys are. That's why I've positioned myself in majority large cap coins this cycle. And if you've been following me for the last months or the last few years, I've been very bullish on all of these coins: Doge, Solana, Ethereum, XRP, SUI, and of course Bitcoin, lining myself up in my spot bag, in my low leverage strategy bags, and in my higher leverage, taking advantage of what the market gives us. And I think right now we're going to have a volatile couple of days for Bitcoin, up and down, liquidating people from both the upside and the downside. So make sure you understand that, and whatever the strategy is that you follow, it takes into consideration extreme volatility. But I think that overall XRP could still have a run if we get our alt season, if we get the liquidity and the lines or the stars line up for us. Of course, no guarantee. With that said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.